Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It is 7:37 p.m. It's Sunday. A lot of the games just ended. Sunday night game's about to start. Sunday, September 8th. The first NFL week is about to be over, the main slate, right? I'm going to break down this two-game Monday Night Football slate. You can take whatever I talk about. You can use it towards the Showdown slate. Clearly different pricing on the Showdown slate, but still, I'll be live tomorrow night, probably around 6:15-ish, and we could chat a little bit later then on the Showdown slate as well. But for now, the two-game slate, there's a bigger prize pool. It's more than double, I think. I think it's like $250K. So I'll talk about my interest on the two-game slate. Hopefully, it'll help you out. I think it will. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sal Vetri. I do cover daily fantasy sports in the NFL, like you're seeing, NBA, WNBA, and the MLB streets. It's very heavy and deep into the NFL season. If you are interested in more exclusive content, I do have that. Click the link down below on Patreon. There's so much. I don't want to list it all. There's so much that I'm doing on Patreon. Patreon exclusive podcasts, a lot of projections, rankings, lots of stuff over there. So check it out if you're interested. I have an NFL daily fantasy course, also linked down below. I will also be on Awesomo's live streams Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 11 a.m. So that's all out of the way. Oh yeah, and hit the subscribe button. What am I saying? We just crushed through 7,600 subscribers. I'm projecting to get to 10K in a month. That's crazy. Thank you all so much. I started this 11 months ago, and this is honestly my full-time job now. I love this. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, and it's all because of you. So hopefully YouTube doesn't shut down tomorrow, and we can keep doing it, right? So let's do it. So the Monday night, two games, like every single first week of the year. You get the Saints and the Texans. Very good game, honestly. Two offenses that should be good by all accounts and will be good by all accounts. And Houston, who I'm very high on this year. We'll see what Duke Johnson looks like in that backfield. And then the other game, Oakland and Denver. The big story there is that AB is obviously gone. Oakland's offense is now atrocious. Denver, for the most part, should be pretty bad to average to bad. I don't know. Joe Flacco in the preseason looked okay. We'll see how he looks right now. He has a decent offense around him, but for the most part, it's kind of shaky. Phillip Lindsay, can he repeat last year? I'd say no. I don't really trust a Royce Freeman in that backfield. Backfield seems meh to me at best. Emmanuel Sanders, 31 years old, off an Achilles tear. Everybody's raving about his preseason that he had like 3 to 4 touches, if that, right? He had like 2 to 3 touches in that game, and everybody's raving about it. He's still a 31-year-old receiver coming off an Achilles tear. I'd hold my horses. Deshaun Hamilton, slot wide receiver, looks pretty good. Noah Fant, rookie tight end, looks like he could have some potential. Cortland Sutton on the outside, looking to take a step forward in his sophomore campaign. So the jury is still out on Denver's offense overall. Oakland's offense clearly takes a huge hit. It's going to become much more narrow now with no AB on the outside. So with that said, it's kind of a little brief on it, at least on a very high level. So yeah, if you want my notes, I will have notes probably up for Patreon people. Tomorrow, I'll be doing notes tonight/tomorrow morning for the slate. Those will be up on Patreon. They'll also be up for the live stream for the Showdown. So my interest right now, $8,500 Alvin Kamara is a fair price point. It's a fair price point, and if anything, it might be too cheap. Now, don't be out here thinking, oh, no Mark Ingram. Kamara's about to get 85-90% of the work. No, he's not. Sean Payton has been and again, this is coach speak, but Sean Payton's usually holds true to what he says, and we've seen so much coach speak go wrong for this week, but we've also seen some go right, including seeing that Chris Carson just led the Seahawks in receptions, which is something that, or targets at 7, which is something that we were waiting to see on. But anyways, Alvin Kamara should see about 70% of the workload in this game. 30% is going to be going to Latavius Murray in the backfield. I have a lot of interest in Kamara. Of course I do. Houston is going to be a good defense, but he is pretty much matchup proof out of the backfield, at least in the pass catching game. And I imagine Latavius Murray will be seeing some red zone work, but Kamara led the team in red zone rushes last year more so than Ingram. So I'm not too worried about that either if indeed Latavius Murray is going to be taking over the Mark Ingram role. So yeah, obvious interest in Kamara. The best play on the slate is $8,000 DeAndre Hopkins. Don't get away from it. Don't try and get different. Don't try and get cute. He's the favorite target. He's going to see 12 plus targets in this game. He's going to have the most touchdown upside in this entire game. Yes, more than Michael Thomas, more than Kamara. This guy is absolutely dominating. He's a monster. DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that I don't get away from here. Last year, New Orleans, they took a step back, right? Lattimore took a step back. A lot of guys in this secondary took a step back. You're going to have the best wide receiver, in my opinion, in the entire league, and I don't even think it's that close. Julio's close, but other than that, I think there's a pretty decent tier in between them in terms of overall red zone usage, overall just explosiveness. DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to be a guy that I get to. It's as simple as that. Michael Thomas. So the wide receivers are clearly the option to go to here in terms of expensive, right? In terms of the ones that seem secure. If you talk all the elite players on the slate, you have Kamara, Hopkins, and Thomas. I think I trust Thomas and Hopkins more even so than Kamara in terms of upside here. You're going to have Thomas being targeted a lot. Insane catch percentage and radius in terms of like his percentage was like 90+% last year. And it's going to be somewhere where I want to get to some Michael Thomas. I want to get some DeAndre Hopkins. The game that I want to target the most out of these two games is indeed going to be New Orleans and Houston. So on a two-game slate, game stacking doesn't make much sense, like to try and prioritize it. But when one game is clearly better than the other, right, the offensive weapons, or at least the overall upside in the Oakland-Denver game, nowhere close to Houston and New Orleans. Houston and New Orleans is the highest total on the entire week. Not even just Sunday or not even just Monday. The entire week. It's at 53.5 last time I checked. So I'll be getting to a lot of options there on the two-game slate. And that gets us to Deshaun Watson. He's the best quarterback on the slate, right? Derek Carr, no AB. The upside is very limited. Joe Flacco, no mobility for one. The only guy in the slate who has mobility to give you points on the ground, and probably at least 3 of them in terms of having 30 rushing yard upside. He has the highest touchdown equity on the ground, is Deshaun Watson. 6,800 is a criminal price point. 6,800 is clearly high, right? It's very high for a quarterback. Pat Mahomes was the most expensive on the main slate at 7,200. But on a two-game slate, he should be priced up. I would be getting to Deshaun Watson in every single lineup I play. I'm not going to be playing a lot of lineups because it's a two-game slate. I'd rather save that money and that upside for a slate where I can take advantage of what I would consider my skills and my knowledge, and just get more money down and take advantage of having more players to choose from instead of just a couple of players and really variance taking its toll there. So yeah, Deshaun Watson seems like a no-brainer. Pairing him with DeAndre Hopkins seems like a no-brainer. It's something that you should rarely get away from. DeAndre Hopkins in primetime is an absolute monster. So yes, those are the pairings that make sense. Duke Johnson in this backfield. So Carlos Hyde is there as well. They say Carlos Hyde is going to be getting a lot of the workload. I don't care. I'm not buying it. He's an absolute dumpster fire. New Orleans front is actually going to be improved and pretty good. I have interest in Duke Johnson, a clear pass-catching guy, fits this offense really well. $66,000 flat is a fair price point, if not a little bit too cheap. Tyrell Williams is going to be an interest for me at 4,400. He's going to be the number one wide receiver out there. But hold your horses here. The only reason I like him is the price point. $4,400 is very, very cheap for a guy who is the de facto number one receiver with no AB out there now. But he's still in a new offense. He does not have a rapport with Derek Carr. He was always good as a number 2 wide receiver when he saw opportunity. He's a clear burner. He can catch the deep ball. He can run with any cornerback in the league and burn any cornerback in the league for the most part. But don't get carried away. $4,400 is a clear favorable price point, but I'm not jumping all around to get to him at that price point thinking that he's going to pay it off. Again, he's never been a number 1 wide receiver. They didn't get him to be a number 1 wide receiver. He has never constantly face a number 1 cornerback. Lucky for him, Denver probably doesn't have too many guys to shut him down. So it's an okay spot. The price tag obviously makes it attractive. He's an interest of mine, but I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on if I can at any point see what ownership looks like on FanShare, see what ownership looks like on Awesemo for Tyrell Williams. Broncos defense makes sense. Pass rush is going to be there. They're going to be able to get to Derek Carr, who will have a rookie running back in the backfield, Josh Jacobs for most of the time, who will not have the greatest of protection around him. And then when you take into account, who is going to burn this Denver defense? Hunter Renfrow in the slot? No. We just talked about Tyrell not ever being a true number 1 receiver. I don't think he burns them all that much. Darren Waller, the rookie tight end, I think he's okay. I think he's a good tight end. Definitely has upside. Probably the best upside player on this team. But no. Who's going to burn them? Josh Jacobs out of the backfield? I do not think so. Not against that run defense. So, I think Denver's defense overall is pretty good at 3,500. You have to pick a defense on a 2-game slate. They were the ones that I have the only interest in right now, honestly. Will Fuller, 5,300. When he's healthy, he catches touchdowns. It's as simple as that. You're getting a very good price tag on him. If you were to stack the Texan team, a stack of Will Fuller, DeAndre Hopkins, and Deshaun Watson makes a lot of sense. Run it back with 2 guys on the New Orleans side. It makes a lot of sense. If you wanted to save some money and you really wanted to get interesting, I would not be fading Hopkins here, but getting to a Will Fuller, a Deshaun Hamilton, and a Duke Johnson, since he's a pass catcher, directly correlates with his quarterback, Deshaun Watson, makes a lot of sense as well. But you can play all 4 of them even. You just have to hope for a shootout, which this game should be by far the one that shoots out way more than Denver and Oakland. Josh Jacobs, he's an interesting, and I put him here as an X because I want to talk about him. He's $5,000, very good price point for a running back. Jalen Richard, they say Josh Jacobs will have every opportunity to be a 3-down running back. But Richard's there, and I don't buy that coach speak all that much. I think Richard's going to be on the field, especially if they're trailing in this game, which I expect, especially in 3rd and longs, which I would expect. So I don't really have much interest in Josh Jacobs season long. I would be very panicked if I had him now. There's not many players to stretch the field now in terms of Antonio Brown gone. You had 2 guys who could stretch the field, Antonio Brown, Tyrell. Antonio Brown gone now. It's very narrow, and it's easy to kind of stack the box against a guy like Josh Jacobs as a rookie. Even at $5,000 on the main stage, it's a nice price point for a running back. I'm not going to be getting to it, though. I've listed him as a maybe because we'll see what lineup construction looks like, but I just wanted to chat about him. $4,900 Jared Cook. He's now on New Orleans. He is no longer on his former team, who's also playing this night, the Oakland Raiders. They now have rookie tight end Darren Waller. Cook, we have to watch his health, right? There were some issues in the preseason. He got nicked up. So let's watch Jared Cook's health. Apparently, they're raving about him in camp. He's a very affordable at $4,900 option to sort of run back a game stack with. If you get to 2, 3, maybe even 4, I would only get to 3, Deshaun Watson and 2 pass catchers, and then run back Jared Cook and maybe a Michael Thomas, something like that. It makes it very easy at his price tag of $4,900. Cortland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, the wide receivers for Denver. Again, I have no interest in Emmanuel Sanders, 31 years old, coming off an Achilles tear. He looked good, I guess, in the preseason. He's looked electric, they're saying. Still don't have interest. I would rather get to Deshaun Hamilton. Sadly, Hamilton probably gets on the field less due to the fact that Sanders will be out there. Cortland Sutton on the outside, second-year receiver, had a pretty good rookie campaign. He struggled when Sanders went down, and he was the number one guy out there. So I think he's still going to get that number one attention because I don't think teams will see Sanders as a threat. So $4,500 for Cortland Sutton. He does have big play upside. It's just a matter of can he get a connection with Joe Flacco. So there is interest there at $4,500. Jalen Richard, $3,600, outside interest, not a ton. Don't think he gets on the field a lot. If you want to play the narrative that Denver gets up big, well, then Jalen Richard will be on the field a lot. Again, it's a PPR format. So if Richard catches 5 balls for 40 yards, that might be needed. That might be enough. And then also taking into account anything he gets on the ground. He's a very good pass-catching running back, a very underrated one, so there has to be interest. Hunter Renfrow in deep options. So here's the thing. In season-long deep leagues, you should be adding him. Hunter Renfrow, he's a rookie out of Clemson. He secured the job in the slot, which is very hard to do, which kind of just speaks to his skill set. But I don't know how much he gets on the field here. If anything, a wide or a quarterback's going to look to the slot the most. So seeing what the rapport is between Derek Carr and Hunter Renfrow is good, but he also hasn't looked to the slot that much in his career in Derek Carr. He's relied on tight ends, so middle of the field options if you want to play that narrative. That helps both Darren Waller, who's the next guy to talk about, and Hunter Renfrow. Tim Patrick is $3,200. He's dirt cheap. He's a guy who's going to be probably the number 4 wide receiver on this team, but when you take into account that Deshaun Hamilton's in the slot and Emmanuel Sanders will be in the slot a lot, Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton will be the outside options for this team. $3,200 is way too cheap. He's a guy I have a lot of interest in against an Oakland defense. J.J. Nelson will be getting more snaps if he is healthy. Keep an eye on that. More snaps on the outside. He was a slot receiver, but he can play on the outside due to the fact now that there is no AB. But again, I don't have much interest there. I would rather play Tim Patrick at the exact same price point. Noah Fant, $3,000 rookie tight end. He's meh. He's okay. You have better tight end options on this slate. I believe that you have better tight end options in Jared Cook if he's healthy and even Darren Waller. Raiders defense I have on here because they're very cheap at $3,200 or $2,300. Sorry, dyslexia. I'm not dyslexic, but still. $1,200 less than the Broncos. That's the only reason you play them. You don't have to pay up for defenses all the time, but on a short slate, it makes more sense to try and secure those points. But again, the Raiders against Denver. Denver's not a blowaway offense. It's Joe Flacco. We've never been scared of him in our lives. And he doesn't have just the best offense around him. He really never has. But the Raiders defense is okay. In terms of fantasy at $2,300. That's it. I don't have interest in Drew Brees. Give me Deshaun Watson and his rushing upside all day long. He's the only quarterback I have interest in. Don't have interest in old Emmanuel Sanders. Don't have interest in Derek Carr. No interest in Phillip Lindsay. No. These are my interests right now. Some of the guys who are question marks I really don't have interest in. I just wanted to put them there to discuss them with you. If you got any value from this video, let me know in the comments down below. Follow me on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. I make DFS videos for football every single day. Baseball and WNBA content is also on Patreon as well as football. There's so much exclusive content I have on Patreon. I have a leverage and ownership video talking about the ownerships on Fridays and where I would leverage away from. Rankings for cash, GPP player pool with projections. My game-by-game notes come out on like Thursdays for every single game. My targets and touches, all those are up for Sunday already. So check all that out. There's even more in there. I'm forgetting, a Wednesday night live stream, all that. I have an NFL Daily Fantasy course linked down below as well. That can help you out. My name's Sal. Hit the subscribe button before you leave. Hopefully this video helped. And go win like $250,000 tomorrow night, right? Like, let's have an honest conversation here. Why do you not just go win the money? Like, you keep watching my videos. I love it. I love the attention. Like, I'm getting to do this full time now because of you. But I want you to win the money. Not me. No, not me. I don't need the money. I do need the money. But come on, give me the money. No. Go win the money. Get back to me. Tell me you won the money. I'll be like, hey, nice job. Congrats, all right? So hit me in the DMs if you win the money. Peace out, gang.
Hey, hold up. 1 second. Check out this page. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button, all right? And if you're interested in Patreon, if you're not already a Patreon, you can hit that button on Patreon, become a Patreon. It will take you right there. You can also check me out on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. And hey, if you're interested, this next video that's about to pop up, why don't you check it out as well. See ya.